Hello, everyone. Welcome back on yet another beautiful Sunday. Welcome back to REVVUP with ARPRO. So, team, all of you are ready. I know we have yet another fantastic guest, but before we go, let me quickly clarify. I hope all of you are able to hear me well. Okay. So, I see, as usual, Pro Vignesh, the first person to be live. Hi, Pro Vignesh. How are you? Great to see you first, always. Okay. So, team, let's get going with today's program on REVVUP. So, like every week, we have a new guest, a brand new guest who shares his life story with us on this Sunday. So, today we have with us Pro Girish. Pro Girish has been part of our AirPro group for some time now. So, presently, he is the COO, director of Jubiliant MG, Bangalore, but he has experience in multiple countries handling the auto retail sector. So he has worked with different brands like Kia abroad. He also worked with premium brands like BMW and Porsche. So all of you ready to meet him? Okay. So before we go ahead and meet him, one quick suggestion to all of you. If you have not subscribed to our channel yet, click on the subscribe button immediately. And do press the like button if you're liking this video. Okay. And all of you know, ARPRO is the world's largest network of professionals from the auto industry. And REVVUP is an initiative by ARPRO to bring in the veterans from the auto industry and give you an opportunity to understand their life story, how their career went through, and also an opportunity for you to interact with them so that you can ask questions and understand what are hints for you to grow in your life as well. So, team, let me introduce you to the guest of the day, Pro Girish Neelamana. So, over to you, Pro Girish.
Hi, all. Thank you, Shrikant. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. To be very honest, this is the first webinar which I'm ever doing, or the first any kind of public digital public thing which I'm doing. And thank you so much, Shrikant, for making this happen. And I think it's a great initiative. Because I always keep talking about, there are two things which happens in the automobile. One is the technical part, and one is the not so good retail part of the entire thing. Nobody gives credit to the retail segment. But then I think Auto Retail Pro, I think, is one of those communities which have given a lot of importance on the retail segment of the automotive. And thanks to Shrikant and the entire Auto Retail Pro to make this happen. Thank you so much, Shrikant. So now taking this forward, I really don't know, because let me do it this way. I will start off from how my entire automobile journey started. And I think it's very important to understand that passion makes everything possible. It's very important to have a lot of passion in what you do. So I started my career. I started my entire automobile thing when I was in the 8th standard, when my dad was in the bank and we were in Delhi, and he had, at that time, I'm talking about almost 30 years back, he had this Ambassador Mark IV car, and I'm 8 years old, and car was a luxury then. And lucky enough for me, my dad was a senior person, so he used to get a car and a driver. So I always had this inclination to take the car and go for a spin, even though I never knew how to drive a car. And dad would have given me a strong thrashing if I would have probably taken the car without his permission. And I was always scared to actually go out, take the car without his permission. So it's always an opportunity to find out when he would not be there at home, and maybe the key is lying somewhere, and I just pick it up and go drive the car. So that's how this entire thing happened. Fortunately enough, there were times when dad was not there, and he used to go out and work. And since being bank, he used to be out in various states to do a lot of things. So there were times when I used to probably take the key out and, but never had the confidence to go drive the car because I have never learned driving. So one fine day, what happened was when coming back from school, my driver, dad had a driver also, being in a bank, it's one of the privileges what he gets. And, dad's driver being a localite in Delhi, I told him I want to drive the car, So he said, I'm scared, dad's not going to be very happy about this. But I said, this is just between you and me. There is nothing wrong, right? If you don't tell, I don't tell. So there is nothing. You are anyway not going to get caught because I'm not going to say, because I know what is in store for me if I'm going to tell him. So he was a little bit skeptical, but at the end of the day, I was able to convince him. And, we took the car out. I learned a lot of driving with him. And then it was a never turning back thing for me, I used to drive the car whenever dad was not there. I used to take the car, even though I never had a license, I used to take the car, roam around all over the place. But then I think this little thing of driving a car has brought me this 24 years into what I am today. And that passion for being behind the wheels of a car, and that passion for, be it an ambassador or be it a Mercedes-Benz S-Class or the latest Porsche Panamera, I think the passion for cars, the passion for automobiles always was there in me. So life went on after that. I just gave you this initial thing because this is where the entire passion started. It was just the look of a car and just the driving, the steering wheel, and the entire passion. Life went on. I passed out. I got into my graduation done, did a little bit of rallying, Upar Niche, I think, not a great thing when I was in doing my bachelor's, had a close friend and, we did a little bit of rallying. Again, it was not something great. I never wanted to get into rallying, or probably it was a very expensive thing to do. So, it was not something which I would have made it as a profession if there was the right kind of guidance and the right kind of handholding done over there. But then it just abruptly stopped over there. Then I finished my MBA from Loyola, and then it was time to get a job. So that is the most interesting part again. So again, dad being a banker, he always wanted me to get into a bank, and being a very senior person in the bank, probably he would have pushed me into a bank, and with his contacts and things like that, he would have pushed me into a bank and things like that. But fortunately enough for me, there was this new company which came into India, which was called as Hyundai Motor India Limited. HMIL was my first job, and I was probably the 10th employee of HMIL. This is a time when the Indian market has seen only the Marutis, only the ambassadors, and only the Fiats. And this was something new for India, and nobody even knew that Hyundai is going to come into India and make a mark in India. So I was probably the 10th employee in Hyundai Motor India Limited, and we had a very small office in Century Towers in TTK Road, and it is a very small place, TTK Road, and I think it's a little bit of a I would say I never expected that, because Hyundai Motor India being a huge company with huge amount of investment, the kind of office it had initially was it's like a very small office with four or five of us in that entire place, But then that is where the entire thing happened. That is where the entire magic happened. Hyundai becoming the second largest automobile manufacturer in India with over 10,000, 15,000 employees working with them. And I'm so proud to be part of the team. And we had a fantastic team who put on roads, who put on various ideas, who put on various, setup of dealerships across the country and things like that. So I think we were very proud to be part of that team. And I think that was the first time when the Santro was launched in India, and that was the first time when I got into retailing, the so-called getting into selling of cars. That is the key. Till now, you had a passion for cars. You were behind the wheels. You were driving the car. You try to understand rallying a bit and things like that. But you really were not able to pitch this product to another person in front of you. So I think that was where the entire retailing started, and that was where we really wanted to make this product a success. And none of us had seen the Santro that time when it came. We were driving Maruti, and that's another funny thing. We were being in part of Hyundai. We were driving Maruti S-Teams and Maruti Thousands because the cars were not there, and we were just producing the cars and things like that. So Once we saw this car, we were shocked. We never thought this car would do wonders in India because the car looked like a frog, and it had those fancy colors like, the greens and the blues and, so we said, oh man, is this car really going to do wonders in India? Like the Zens, which was the cute car of India. You had the Maruti 800, which was like a killer. Everybody wanted a Maruti 800. I had friends who had, Maruti 800 with all sorts of accessories fit in, and you had, lot of things happening in the market at that time. We saw this car and the unique concept called as the tall boy design and things like that. We said, yeah, oh man, this is going to be very scary. The ride is going to be very, very scary. But then, but then, I think again, I was a management trainee that time, but I think we had a fantastic team over there who worked on the marketing part with, Shah Rukh Khan ad coming up, Shah Rukh Khan being the brand ambassador for that car, and a whole lot of beautiful dealer network. I think one of the best set dealer network for any automobile manufacturer. Even today, some of them are there. I could name a few like Kun and things like that. I think they were one of the finest dealer networks. Apart from that, they had this very unique concept called as the Hyundai Motor Plazas. Now, this Hyundai Motor Plazas, this is the first time again, thing in India, wherein the company itself had its own showroom. It was not a dealership, it was a company-run showroom. So they had Hyundai Motor Plazas in Chennai, in Bombay, and in Delhi. So these were model showrooms wherein I think the company wanted to touch and feel the customer directly, and I was part of that team of Hyundai Motor Plaza. So getting into retailing, hardcore selling. So that was my first job. So we really worked hard on getting into retailing, putting the. There are a few differences which I would probably tell you later on over a journey which have happened over the 24 years which I've done. I will tell you a few differences which are there, what was there that time and today. So just going forward, so I was 4 years in Hyundai Motor India Limited, 4.5 years in Hyundai Motor India Limited, and I think again monotony hit. Everybody does that. Young, wanted to do something better, wanted to grow up the ladder. Things like that, and a little bit of pressure at home, saying that it's a private company. What to do? So again, there was the thing from dad saying that you need to look at some other job, and I would have stuck around Hyundai Motor India Limited, but then I think it was 4 years, and typically the monotony which was there, doing the same thing and the same people around and stuff like that. So maybe there was a little bit of, I would say, a 60% mindset that I need to find something new. So that is when I think with a certain amount of this thing, I got into a bank. Fortunately enough, the same bank where my dad was working, and Punjab National Bank, and a public sector bank, a phenomenal job. I think the most secure job which would have been, anybody would have taken up. I was the senior marketing manager at Punjab National Bank, handling the southern zone. So I think it was a dream job for a lot of people, because it was a public sector bank. It's a government job, not a state government, it was a central government job. And you had all the perquisites, you had all of this thing, and if you are even 10% good or 15% good and a little bit aptitude, you would have been probably the general manager or a vice president or anything in a matter of 10-15 years, because that is how the bank worked. And my dad was in the bank, so it was a very, I would say, a very safe, secure, and a very a rosy job. But what really happened was wait. So what really happened was I was there for a year, and this is something which was very, very funny, because I used to report into the zonal head of the southern zone, so I used to report. So I handled the entire marketing of the southern zone in Punjab National Bank. And if I had to make a proposal and meet my boss to get that approval done, or maybe have a discussion, I had to get an appointment with him. So, and if I used to get an appointment, after maybe 3 days, so I used to take an appointment on a Monday. I used to say, sir, I want to meet you, I need to discuss this with you. So his secretary would to tell me, you need to come back on Wednesday, or you need to come back on Thursday. I was like really taken aback, so my own boss giving me 3 days appointment. I think that was ridiculously wrong, and I think that was something which I was not really keen to get into. I was really not keen to do that, because if I wanted to get something done, I just open the door, go talk to him. Look, sir, this is what it is, and I want to get things done. So I'm not blaming the Indian system bureaucracy. I'm not blaming that, but then that is how it was. So that's something which was never something which I could really understand. So 1 year I went on with that. I think it was 1 year, 3 months. I went on with that, and it was a little bit of uneasiness for me, because every time I go, there's a presentation done, and it takes its own sweet time. But I learned a lot of things, because that was a time when co-banking solution was being implemented in Punjab National Bank, and this is the first time I think it was the second largest bank after SBI. So I think they were implementing the core banking solution. So I got into a little bit of technical thing. They implemented the Finacle from Infosys over there, and it was a little bit of good fun. We had the ATMs happening and stuff. But then again, I was not very enthusiastic about continuing that. That is when the Hindu in Chennai had a huge ad that there's this big group called as a South Bhawan group, looking for sales consultants, sales executives, and things like that, and a huge ad and a very fancy ad. And I was like, oh my God, this is something which I should really look at. So I applied for it. And most of you probably listening to me would know South Bhawan Group. Many of you would have worked with South Bhawan Group, one of the humongous groups in the Middle East, and one of the biggest groups in Oman. So I applied for that job. And I got into the interview. Nobody at home were aware of this. So I got into the interview, I passed the interview, and I really got into the job. Then I went back to dad and said, look, I'm going to Muscat. I'm going to be an executive in a car company, and we are going to sell cars in Muscat. Again, there was a huge amount of uneasiness at home, because dad never wanted me, because I am a Brahmin, and I'm a Namputiri from Kerala is known for people going to the Middle East. Everybody goes to the Gulf. They call it the Gulf. So everybody goes to the Gulf to make a quick buck, and majority of the people who go to the Gulf are carpenters, painters, denters. So dad always had this thing, oh man, this guy is going to go over there as a denter, painter, carpenter after doing. So it's a big no-no at home. Going to Gulf was not the thing for a professional guy. Going to Gulf was only for those guys who were probably looking at, a lower level of work, maybe a mechanic or maybe a technician, or maybe not a guy who wanted to make a career. So this was the kind of mentality, but there was a huge amount of resistance there. But then I said, no, I need to get out of this place. I need to go there and see what's happening. I just took the risk. I said, okay, fine. In spite of all those uneasiness which was there at home, took the flight, landed in Muscat. And again, see, this is a journey which I have learned with so much of funny things happening in my life. So I landed in Muscat, and South Bhawan being the company it's a fantastic employee-friendly company. So there was a car picking me up at the airport. And it was a great thing for me, because I thought I might land over there, take a taxi, and need to go wherever I am and things like that. But the car was there waiting for me. I went out, opened the driver's door, and I was sitting, because it's a left-hand drive car. So it was again something very funny, because I was always in the right-hand thing, and the driver was sitting there, and I was like, oh my God, what are you doing here? That sort of thing. So because it was a left-hand drive car, so he said you need to sit on another place. So I went back to the maybe like you have those chauffeur-driven cars in India, which I was also used to because the dad was a back with chauffeur and all. So I went at the back, and I opened the door, and I sat at the back. So the driver was a Pakistani person. He said, Sabji, you need to come front. You cannot sit at the back. Because that is not the concept there. The concept there is you don't sit at the back like a big boss, and you need to come and sit next to him. So I sat next to him. He took me to the place where I'm going to be staying for the next 8.5 years. So again, 8.5 years is a long time. In my entire career, I think I have spent a good amount of time understanding. And I think when I say my story further, you will realize what this 8.5 years meant to me. So yeah, so I went over there. I was an executive. Went over there. So South Bhawan is a huge group. They have close to 25,000 employees working with them. So the first day I come to the office of the main, the headquarters or the main office of here, South Bhawan, and I walk out. I see the Toyotas, I see the Lincolns, I see the Mercurys, I see the Buicks, I see the Fords, I see, and lo, I think it was one of my best days of my life, you know, because being so passionate about, I've only seen the Hyundais, I've only seen the Marutis, I've only seen the ambassadors, and you know, those were the great things for me. You know, driving a Sonata probably was a great thing for me because that was the car which we used to sell and the most fanciest car which I used to probably look. I would have not even seen a Mercedes Benz or a person like me having 5 years of experience coming from India, put in between these cars, fancy cars. And I was like, oh my God, this is the place I need to be. This is the place which I'm going to be really liking. You know, so there were a hell lot of cars over there, and you know, all different varieties, different models, different shapes, SUVs, XUVs, MUVs, sedans. I think you know, it was something which really caught hold of me. Now, whatever said and done, the job starts. In my mind, seeing the cars, one day I would be driving those cars and things like that. So I go stand, and you have this 25, 30 people ready to be employed and put up in various departments in the South Goan group, and I was part of the queue. And you know, part of the queue waiting for my turn to come. So there is this HR person who calls me, Girish, come, you are now posted into Kia. I have not heard about Kia. So that's the first time I heard about Kia. So Kia, so okay, fine. Let me get into Kia. So I have seen a few cars of Kia which are standing down and fancy looking cars, good looking cars. So I got into Kia, and I used to report into a very nice person, a very great person by the name of Mr. Ravi Raghavan. I think, you know, a whole lot of learning in my career came in from him. He was handling the product, and he was handling a new division called as a special sales division in South Bhawan Group for the this thing. So the product division, now there is a huge difference between how a retail business works in India and a retail business works in the Middle East or any part of the world. Because India being a manufacturing economy, the OEM gives you a product, and you need to push the product in the market and sell it. But in the Middle East, what really happens, or anywhere else in the world, what really happens is there is a product, we design the product, we work on the product, we'll tell the manufacturers what we need. Say, for example, if I have the Kia Seltos today, which is there in India, I say the Kia Seltos, I want 100 cars of Kia Seltos without power windows or without sunroof. I get those cars. In India, the car comes ready-made, fit, this is what you need to. So that's a huge difference. So the product department in Kia used to work on that. The product department in Kia used to configure cars, used to customize cars based on requirements. You know, so I was part of the product team and the so-called special sales. I was going to be, again, you know, these are all mystery for me because, you know, we never did all this before. So I was again not going to be into the product team. I was going to be into the special sales team. Now, this is something very funny. What is special sales? You know, everybody used to sell cars. You know, what is the special about the special sales? You know, you retail a car, you go meet a customer, sell him a car. So what is the special sales? It took some time for me to understand. So I sat with Mr. because it took me about a month to, they have this induction program, intensive induction program, and going into various departments, understanding them. So that is almost a month. So once that is over, I sit with Mr. Ravi and understand what this whole thing is about special sales. Now, special sales is selling cars. It's purely retailing cars, but not to Oman, not to the local market, but to the global market. You know, fancy as it sounds, but it's super hard. You know, you are in India, you are in Muscat, you want to sell a car to probably a localite who comes into a showroom, and you tell him, so I have this car is priced so much, this car is you know, got all these features, this is the finance terms which I can give you, and you know, you sell the car. The only thing was maybe I need to learn a little bit of Arabic, and you know, I need to probably get into selling of cars. Now, what I'm going to do is way different from what this is. I thought this is what selling is. You know, what I just told you is what selling is all about. What I'm going to do is have a bag with me, have a suitcase with me, take a flight to another country, right? So take a flight to another country. When I talk about another country, I'm not talking about Europe, I'm not talking about US, I'm not talking about Australia. Take another country, I'm talking about Sudan, I'm talking about Syria, I'm talking about Jordan, I'm talking about Syria. Countries where it's third world countries where nothing happens, you just land. So I take up this bag. I have a lot of brochures in them. I have a lot of this thing in me. Go there, land in the country, stay there for a week or 10 days, sell cars. I think it's a way harder, tougher, difficult thing to do to retail when you do that, right? Because the reason why I'm saying is today you know your roads, you know your language, you know your product. The only thing is a customer might come, you have a showroom, a fantastic showroom, world-class showroom where customers come in. What am I doing? I don't have a showroom. I don't know the location. I don't know the language. I don't know anybody over there. Geographically I'm new. The food is new. The place I stay is a hotel room. And I have 10 days to sell cars. Well, that's what I was doing for 8 years. That's what I was doing. So guys, retailing is way easy in India. Way easy. What we do retailing today is way easier. You have a showroom. What retail I used to do was way different from what you guys do right now. So I think it started off, my first trip was to Damascus in Syria. We were there Ravi was with me, my boss, so he didn't want to put me alone on the first trip itself, so he was with me. The idea is to go there, find out people who are a multi-channel car partners, multi-channel dealers, sit with them, understand their requirement, and take orders from them and give them cars. Now, the reason why we choose these countries are probably countries which have a huge requirement of cars. People over there locally want cars, but OEMs and manufacturers don't have direct tie-up with them due to political environment, due to financial, economic environment, things like that. They don't want to directly invest or directly involve, so they depend on people like us, people like Saud Bawan, people like Suhail Bawan, Al Futain to do this for them. So it's basically a very gray area. It's not a very formalized kind of selling which happens over there. It's a very gray kind of market which happens over there. So we start off doing this. So first Syria. So I travel from Damascus to the entire north of Syria to a place called Hama. So during this journey, it's a 2 days journey. During this journey, I visit a whole lot of dealers, sit with them. Because Ravi was with me, I understood how to handle the customers, talk to the customers, and understand how the business can be worked out and things like that. So that was the beginning of a journey of 8 years of a very different kind of retailing. So over that 8 years, we started off this department with doing around 10-15 cars to begin with, because we started off with Syria and small places, making ourselves present in a lot of other places. And we started, when I left the company, we were doing close to 55,000 cars to various parts of third world country. So now I have covered a hell of a lot of countries which I don't even know existed. I have covered places like Syria, I've covered Jordan, I've covered Djibouti, I've covered Algeria, I've covered Kurdistan, Vietnam, Cambodia. I think a whole lot of CIS nations like Turkmenistan, Armenia, Azerbaijan, a hell of a lot of countries. I don't even remember those countries. So I've covered all these countries, and it was fun. It was really fun traveling to all these places. And finding new customers, finding new this thing. See, the biggest thing over here is you go to a new place, as I said, as a foreigner. You go to CIS, you go to Russia, you don't know the language. You need to depend on somebody to know the language. So you start off with finding somebody who can help you. So the entire process is probably a new business of its own. It's like starting a new business. You go to a new place, find the people, find the kind of customers, get those deals from them, manufacture those cars, put them back. So I think over that 8 years, I think we did a great job in understanding the global market, the way it is. And I think the global market can be best understood from third world countries rather than from first world countries. Because first world countries are all countries wherein everything is set, your infrastructure is set, you have an ecosystem, you have a 100% ecosystem for a car. You have a dealership, you have a service network. So you go to a place, a third world country, you can sell a car. Maybe it's so easy to sell 10 cars into Uzbekistan or sell 10 cars into Moscow and things like that. But who will service it? The first question which is going to be asked is, I will buy your cars, I will buy 15 cars, but who's going to service your car? You're going to give me a car, you don't have a dealer network. So every place you went, every place you did this job, you need to create an ecosystem for them. So I was part of creating that entire ecosystem for them, setting up of sub dealers, setting up of service centers, setting up of So this was a great job which I really enjoyed over 8 years in being Muscat. And I think when, as I said, we have covered around 55,000 cars during that period of 8 years which I was there. So I grew up the ladder also. So because I was one of the first employees over there in that special sales department, from an executive, I went to head on to one of the 3 teams which used to handle the international sales. So we had offices in Dubai, we had offices in Sharjah, we had offices in Abu Dhabi. So a whole lot of travel and things like that. So I think that 8 years was something which is very, but there is also something very unfortunate, every good thing has to come to an end. So over a period, you reach a stage wherein you realize being in Muscat, you never become a citizen over there, right? So you tend to think, if you're in Europe, if you're in, say, England, or if you're in US, you would probably spend 8 years over there, and maybe you get a green card, or maybe you get a PR, and you are a respected local citizen over there, or you get the local benefits what a local person over there would get. But in the Middle East, it was never like that. So that was always a big thing for us, for us to Indians over there, for us expats over there. Once you get to a certain level, you always have a localite over there above you who's always, you might be the best, but you still have somebody above you. So I said, maybe it's time, and I need to get back to India. So I landed up in Hyderabad. I landed up in another great place where I worked for 4.5 years. Is Mercedes-Benz in India. It's a dealer. I think Mahavir, Adishwar Auto. I think I spent over there. I joined over there because, again, when you come back to India, it's very difficult to explain to people what you have done. You have covered, and probably 8 years, I think 8, 9, 10, around 12 years of experience before joining Mahavir. So I think I have done a lot of traveling, I've done a lot of selling, I have done a lot of things. But coming back to India, a dealer network, you are again a fresher. Your entire thing what you have done in the Middle East just gets negated. So I joined as a marketing head of Mahavir in Mercedes-Benz. That was again another 4 years, but I think I had wonderful bosses over there, wonderful people over there who really helped me. And I was, being a sales guy, I just never used to put my head into say marketing alone. So every market sales meeting, I used to be present in every sales meeting. I used to be present in every meeting which required. It was just not marketing, So the entire thing, and I think I had the full freedom to get into that. And slowly, I think I was involved in almost every aspect of Mahavir, of that Mercedes-Benz dealer over there, right from selling, right from infrastructure development, right from expansion into Vijayawada, Vizag, manpower requirement, marketing. So slowly I got a hang of what was happening in the entire automobile industry. So I think it took me a little bit of time to understand this, because Indian market is very different. It is run 100%. I wouldn't say 99.9% OEM driven company. The entire dealer network is, everything is OEM driven, right from who a manpower has to be, what dress he has to wear, what sorts of, everything is OEM driven. The uniform, everything is OEM driven. Only the money is the dealer driven. So there are crores of money which is being invested by somebody, which is being used by somebody to run the business, which was very funny. But then I had to get used to it, because the dealer network today also depends very highly on OEMs to run their business for them, which needs to change in the Indian market. This is our business, this is a dealer business, and the dealers need to have the right kind of attitude to run the business. So I will get into that a bit later. So first I finished my entire career thing. So once Mercedes, then I really got into the entire selling. I started attending a lot of OEM meetings. I started spreading a little bit into the other partner OEM, other partner dealers for Mahavir, that is Skoda, a little bit into Skoda, a little bit into Isuzu, a little bit into Benelli, Indian. So I was present all over Porsche. I was present all over, trying to understand, trying to learn, trying to, because I was new in the Indian market. For me it was very important to understand. So I spread a little bit into all, and thanks to everybody at Mahavir, I think I was given that freedom. I was given that what to say. Importance, I would say, because I really wanted to learn. So I think people give me that importance to go and understand, learn, be it Porsche, be it Skoda, sit over there, understand what's happening over there, and give suggestions, give ideas to improve things. So I think I learned a hell of a lot in that 4 years in Mahavir. And I think after Mahavir, I came to Porsche in Bangalore. And that was a very, very small stint. It was around 3 or 4 months. I think I came into Porsche into Bangalore, and that was again a great opportunity to meet a great number of people and a different level people or different level of retailing. We are talking about 3 cars a month. From I came from maybe 5,000 cars a month to 3 cars a month with Porsche. That's the kind of difference. So 3 cars, I got into the real finesse of a technology, and the real thing, that is the 911s, the Carreras, so the real talked about cars globally. So I worked with them. I had a little bit of touch with Porsche because Mahavir was also dealers for Porsche for some time, and I had an opportunity to interact with them for I think almost 6-7 months with Porsche and trying to set up. So it was not new to me. So I got into Porsche in Bangalore there 3-4 months. Then another opportunity came to me again, going back to Muscat. I went into Nissan in Middle East. That is a brother of South Bhawan called as the Suhail Bhawan Group. So I would say Suhail Bhawan Group is another huge group. And I was given the opportunity to probably work with Nissan over there and head their entire Nissan operations and things like that. But unfortunately, I was there only for a year and a half, because the market was down, market was going very, very down, and Nissan had its own internal issues. We had to shut shops and things like that. And that is when I had this call from BMW coming in. So I got into BMW in Kerala. They were the dealers for BMW for 10 years in Kerala, Platino Classic, and they had put on 3,000 cars in the Kerala market. Fantastic company. I think a really, really great company. And I think I worked over there with a lot of passion. And BMW as a brand is the brand which really, really cares for its brand. The brand value. It carries itself with so much of pride, so much of passion as a manufacturer and as for the dealers. I think I got into a fantastic company called as Platino Classic. So now what has happened? I did the entire retailing for some time. I did retailing abroad. I went to all the third world countries, sold cars, came back to Hyderabad, sold cars, understood sales, understood dealership. What was lacking in my career? What was lacking? What was missing? The financial aspect of the entire thing. How do I work with the financial? Where does this companies get money from? How is this money? I want to pull in 100 cars. I want to wholesale 100 cars. Where is this money coming from? How does this money go out? Platino Classic was the right place because they were financially super troubled. And, so I got into the financial aspect of Platino Classic. So inventory funding, working capital management, the works in finance, talking to ICICI Bank, talking to Yes Bank, even going all the way up to the national, retail finance guys, sitting with them, understanding how to get the financial problems out, working with them to get more working capital, looking at equity infusions, looking at debt equity ratio. So the entire finance thing became one major thing in my head. So it all came out from retailing of cars, because Platino Classic was all about finance and it was not about retail, because they were going through super troubled times financially, and that is where I learned financial discipline is so important in this business, it's so important to have a strong financial discipline. It is not about money being infused, or it is not about what sort of equity you have in the company, or it's not about it is about how well you utilize your funds, how disciplined are you about utilizing your funds when it comes to, when it comes to running your business. Money comes in as working capital, you take the money and put it somewhere else, and you buy a house, and you put it into running some other business. It doesn't work that way, right? You might think it's very easy, and that is where I think the last point which I want to really make in this entire conversation or in this entire thing is that how to run this business, how to run a dealership in India is very, very different from what it is right now. There are very few companies which really understand this business. And so going forward, I'll get into that. So Platino was 1.5 years of real tough time financially, trying to organize funds. I was flying between Delhi with the BMW head office, in Cochin, going to, so unfortunately we couldn't really keep Platino flag flying. On one fine day we had to shut it down because we needed huge equity to come in, the equity which we couldn't find. Even my boss, he couldn't get the kind of equity which we wanted to bring into the business. So it was very difficult. And if you could have bought that equity, so again the moral of the story is a monopoly brand in Kerala, 10 years, 3,000 cars, fancy, absolutely fancy, BMW, 3 beautiful showrooms in Trivandrum, Cochin and Calicut, but of what use? 10 years you work and monopoly, there was nobody in that market except for the last 2 years when there was a competition which came in. For 8 and 9 years, there was but what use? So unless you have the financial discipline, I think the whole thing went down. So we had to shut shop, and that is when I got another opportunity to work with the third German. So I worked with the Mercedes, I worked with the BMW, I worked with the Porsche, all 3 Germans. So now I had another German to work with, Audi. So I got into Audi in Hyderabad, and I was heading their operations. I think it was a very small stint again. It was around 3 or 4 months because because of various issues, I had to really get back into doing something else. So I was with Audi, and my first thing about Audi was again a little bit of a challenging thing. There was a customer who had picked up a TT, Audi TT. So I'm sharing a customer experience right now. One of those experiences which is probably I was the COO of Audi in AMPL when I joined, and I had a whole lot of team working under me over there and things like that. So I got into Audi, and there was this doctor who had picked up an Audi TT, and the Audi TT had to be delivered to his daughter on a day, or it was a birthday or whatever. So Audi India didn't have stock of an Audi TT, and we had picked up the money. So Audi India said, there is this dealer in Calcutta who's got an Audi TT. You can pick it up from him and you transfer the money there. So I said, fine. So basically this whole thing happened before I joined Audi. My ex-bosses, my ex-colleagues had done the deal. So I got into the deal where the money was transferred to Calcutta. The money was with the second dealer, but the car was not coming. And the second dealer was about to shut down. And the second dealer didn't have money to run the business, and we wanted the car. It was our money, and the car cost around 1.3, 1.4 crores. It is not a small time money. Again, I think I had absolutely no clue as to what was happening. So I said we need to salvage this issue. Took our flight to Calcutta. I went to Calcutta, sat down in Calcutta with the second dealer for 4 or 5 days continuously. I think what helped me over here was my trips to Azerbaijan, my trips to Kazakhstan, where I didn't know ABC of what was happening, and I landed up there to sell a car, right? Here, at least, this is my motherland, my country. It is another place called Calcutta, and I could probably take an auto rickshaw or a taxi and go meet somebody, right? So I was very confident, super confident. I went there multiple times to Calcutta, tried to get, because the money which was transferred to them, again, the financial aspect, they had rotated the money, they rolled around the money, they had paid up something else, and this car was under something called as a key management program of Audi. Now, the key management program of Audi is for all manufacturers, is basically the keys of the car which are displayed in the car belongs to the inventory funding financial institution. Say, for example, if Volkswagen India is funding for my inventory, key management is basically the keys lie with them, because you don't have the funds to run the business. So you get money from the customer, pay that money to Volkswagen Finance, they give you the key, and you deliver the car. So basically, it's not a rotating business because you don't have the funds, and the financial company is worried that if we give them the keys, they will deliver the car, take the money, and not repay the inventory. They don't keep the inventory funding this thing. So they were into key management, and the key of this particular TT was with Volkswagen Finance, and the money had to be paid to Volkswagen Finance. But unfortunately, this particular dealer had taken money from us and rotated the money. So unless now this guy sells some other car, and selling a 1.5 crore car is not easy, and in a place called Calcutta, 1.5 crore, this particular dealer had taken this money, rotated it somewhere else. Now he had to generate 1.5 crores from selling of cars and give it to Volkswagen India to sell the car, to give me my TT, which I had paid the money. You understand the entire logic, right? It's like I have paid money for a car to somebody. That money was used for somebody else, and the key of that particular car is with a finance company, and that finance company will not give the car key to me because he has not got money for the car. And now I depend on a third dealer to sell a few cars to get that money, pay them. Man, I think that was like really something. I went to Calcutta, sold 4 cars for them, sat over there for 3 days. We sold some A6, we sold some A8, sold 4 cars for them, got that money, paid it to this thing, COO of a company. Trust me, I thought COO of a company is going to be great. I need to sit behind on a chair and tell guys, go do that, go do this, this is what you need to do, this is the sales page, this. But then I think that kind of responsibility and that kind of involvement, which was never left me throughout my career, throughout my entire 20, even today, I meet a customer, I tell them I want to sell a car. I think that is in my heart. That is always in my heart, whether it's a CEO, whether it's a COO, going down. So I went to Calcutta, sold 4 cars for them. It took me multiple visits. It was not like, 1 week. It took me multiple visits. I had to visit them at least 3 or 4 times to go there, sit with them, sell the cars, got that money, gave that money to the company, loaded the TT on a truck, got it back to Hyderabad, delivered that car to that doctor on the right date. And then I'm not like really saying too much about me, but I think these are experiences which I think has taught me a lot of lessons. These are experiences which really gave me a whole lot of confidence that, and also making an understanding how we run this business is so different, and how we can run this business is so different. How we run. Even today we run it as a very normal, you have a showroom and you sell cars, but how we can do it is so different, So I think those are the things which went on in my mind for a long time. Then I was there, I did this particular thing with the Audi TT, and I got this offer from the next new entrant into India, and I think it is something which was very important for me, because I always craved for something new. So I had worked with Hyundai, I have worked with Kia, I have worked with Mercedes-Benz, I had worked with Audi, I had worked with BMW, I had worked with Porsche, I had worked with Nissan. So I think now, where do I work with? So there was this new company which came into India called as MG, Morris Garages. I think, right opportunity, the first internet car in India. What is this internet car? Everybody talks about internet, and everything is about connectivity, and everything is about, phones and mobiles and things like that. So I was very fortunate to get into as a role of a CEO of Coastline Garages, which is another humongous group in Kerala called as EVM. And they are the dealers for, again, BMW, Porsche, Indian, Volkswagen, Nissan, and a huge group in Kerala called as EVM, and this was part of their group called as Coastline Garages. So I got into Coastline Garages and set up the entire thing for them, entire thing right from scratch. We never even had a showroom. We never had manpower. We never had anything. And I think I should take a few names over here. Mr. Jimmy, who was fantastically supported me. Mr. Sabu, I think there was a great amount of support, great amount of attachment which we had with this group, which I personally had with this group over the last 1.5 years. Fantastic group to work for, fantastic people to work for. So I got into this, and The day I joined the company, the next day was the induction program in Vadodara, where I went into the factory, where I went into the MG factory in Vadodara in Gujarat. We had a fantastic training program. The moment I saw the car, killer of a car, I said, this is going to again do wonders. So think about it. Just think about it. You have a car which talks to you from anywhere in the world. So basically, I was talking to somebody the other day. So I'm traveling abroad to maybe Singapore, or I'm going to maybe Malaysia or somewhere, and I have an Amazon delivery which happens in Kerala, where my car is parked. And the Amazon guy comes, and you're very scared to give it to your neighbor, or you give it to your security, and you're very scared. So you tell the Amazon guy, go to my car, I will open the boot for you, put the parcel in the boot, and I lock it. Wherever in the world, I'm sitting in the Singapore, I'm sitting in the US. No, this is a very jovial conversation. What happens to a car like that in India? I think that was the game changer. I think that was something which was phenomenally accepted by the Indian market, and it's doing extremely well today. And I think the Hector in today, I think is one of the best cars which in that segment which can buy. I really don't want to get into the sales talk over here, and I don't think it's the right forum for me to put that. So I think that was something which encouraged me. So I set up the entire coastline garages operations for them, starting from setting up of showrooms, setting up of the infrastructure over there, including workshops. So we had 3 showrooms set up when I was there. One was in Cochin, one was in Calicut, one was in Thrissur. So we did 3 showrooms, beautiful showrooms, fantastic showrooms. We set up the entire team, right from the sales, frontline sales, to the sales heads, to the back office. The entire thing was set up. And I'm really proud to be part of that team which set that up, because we really took a lot of effort, and towards the end we really won 4 or 5 awards also. And I think the entire team did a fantastic job, and in the first year of operation, I think we did a really great job. And I think thanks to the entire team over there, it's really so MG was something which really happened, and it was new into India, technology to the highest. Because till yesterday we were talking about power, we are talking about BHP, we are talking about torque. We are talking about torque. We have 7 airbags. We have we have that. We have this. But today we are talking about a car which can chat with you. You say, "Hi MG, please open the sunroof," and the sunroof opens. A car which chats with you. So the whole thing, the whole paradigm is shifting into something new, and which was exciting. And I think I'm so lucky to be part of it, because again, if I go into another manufacturer, maybe I would be probably still selling, my car has got a 230 bhp engine, it has got a turbocharged that, but today I don't talk that. Today I talk about, I have a car which can talk to you back, which can wish you on a birthday, which can, you just tell them to open, the car opens itself, which can, remotely do a lot of things. So I reached that level, and I'm very lucky to be there. And fortunately enough, I think I got this opportunity to work with another MG dealer because I think I don't know how it happened. So probably Jubiliant is another fantastic group which I joined finally today, where I am over the last 6 months. I joined Jubiliant as the COO again, and I'm working with a fantastic team of leaders who have been in this company, part of the Jubiliant Bharatiya group. Everybody knows about the Jubiliant Bharatiya group. They are the people behind the Domino's Pizza, and people behind the Dunkin' Donuts. I think a part of that group, fantastic leadership team who has given a whole lot of support and a whole lot of ideology, and I think how a dealer business should work in India is where I am today. After all this journey, today where I sit is where I really believe how a dealership should work. You have an investor who invests money, but the business is run by professionals. Business has to be run by professionals, right from a sales consultant to whoever is on top, all are professionals. So again, when can anybody sell a car? No, it is not the truth. Anybody cannot be a sales consultant. Anybody, whoever is there, you might think of somebody who's selling a TV, somebody who's selling a mobile phone in a shop can come and sell a car. Very wrong, guys. Very wrong. Retail, automotive retail is a profession of its own. Even after 24 years of my experience in retail, I'm not fully equipped to sell a car. Even today, I learn a lot of things to sell a car. So if you think that you would recruit somebody from the local market who has got 1 year of experience in maybe selling a mobile phone or a TV or whatever, he's a great guy. He sells 100 TVs a month. He come and sell. Trust me, he will not do a good job. This is job for professionals. The dealer network in India should understand this is a profession of its own, and automotive retail professionals, right? Automotive retail professionals, the word professionals is so important. Doctor is a professional, engineer, professional, retail, automotive retail is a professional. Guys, thank you so much for your time. And I think my journey today is to tell you we are professionals. All those who are watching us today, we are real professionals. We are not behind anybody. We created this ecosystem in India or anywhere in the global and anywhere in the globe, and we are part of a huge amount of money which goes into the government, the GDP. Trust me, we are that segment, and we need to be proud of this. Be it dealers. The only thing is we need to work together. We need to understand the nuances of this business. We need to make it more professional. And that is where organizations, that is where committees, that is where people like Auto Retail Pro is a beginner baby step to these things. And thanks, Srikanth. Thank you so much for having me today. And I think it was wonderful. I think I spent almost 1 hour. And so sorry. I think it might have been a little bit boring for a lot of you because my passion for this is comes from what I've done. I've only done this. If somebody asks me today, there are a lot of people who think, I can get a job in an IT and I will work. Trust me, I will not do anything for life. I will only, even if the pressures are huge and even if the targets are high. And there are a lot of things which I had discussed with Srikanth the other day before I came into which I really don't think I have time for putting, like, productivity and, things like that, which we never got into. Maybe the next time around, we will try to do that also. So thank you, Srikanth. Over to you. Any questions, anything? I'm very happy and very glad. Once again, thank you so much for all the listeners. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic month end. Wrong time, 2 days to go. Closure, number of cars to be sold, bosses on your head. Still, thank you so much for being with me. Thank you so much.
That was amazing energy. In fact, for some time, I even forgot that this was my show. So, Pro Girish, it was fantastic. In fact, I'm sure all of you enjoyed it as well. However, I don't have time for more questions now. However, let me come back to you guys for the questions. So, whatever questions you have for Pro Girish, please pass it on. Let me pass it on to him right now. So, Pro Girish, we'll go to the question from. So, we have our first question from Pro Ritesh Paul. So, Ritesh Paul has a question for you. He says, what are special challenges between doing sales in Middle East and doing sales in India? How did you cope up?
Yeah, Ritesh, fantastic question. I think the basics again the basics are the same. Retail is a retail. You need to sell the cars the same way. But I think the complexities are much lesser when you go over there because you are a distributor and you are the only dealer there, right? Say I don't know, Ritesh, where you work or what you do, but I think over here in India it's a very different and India is a manufacturing economy. And as I said, we depend a lot on the OEMs giving us the right kind of product, giving us the right kind of direction towards sale. But when you go over there, you decide on what you need to do. You have a team who decides, what needs to be done. And, it becomes a little bit more easier to sell cars abroad. And, it's become a little more easier. The concept is the same. The concept of selling is the same. You explain the car and blah, blah. But I think it becomes a little bit more easier because everything is so process driven. Everything is so, process to work on. In India, you really don't have a process to work on. So I think that is something which is lacking. Otherwise, I think it's probably one and the same. But anybody and everybody cannot sell cars. I'm very honestly telling this is the truth. You need to understand there is a process involved, and it has to be a process that needs to do the same. You cannot pass your 12th standard exam without studying, right? So in India, what really happens is you want to pass the exam without studying. Basically, you want to hit your targets, you want to do 10 cars without doing a process, without doing anything, which will not work. You need to work on processes. So your KPIs needs to change. Your KPI needs to be a process-driven KPI than a result-driven KPI, right? Result will always happen. Result is a culmination of a whole lot of processes which act together and you get a result. So you want to do 10 cars, there's a whole lot of process that works and you get the 10 cars. But if your KPI is to do 10 cars and you don't follow process, it's not going to happen. I think that answered your question, Ritesh. Thank you.
Great. So we have yet another comment from Praveen Kumar. He says, 1 hour is not enough. So, of course, Praveen, we do understand, but yes, we have to stick to our timing. So Praveen also says, I need to learn how to put out the energy Mr. Girish has. My eyes and mind and heart was into it.
Thanks. I think, Praveen, thank you so much. I think once you have a passion, you would do it. It's like taking care of your people at home, right? You have a passion, you will go take care of them. So the same passion comes, I would say, the energies come in automatically.
Okay. And we also have a question from Praveen. Can we meet Mr. Girish personally?
Anytime, any place you say. You tell me where I need to come, I'll be there.
So Praveen, we will give you our email ID. You can just put your mail and we will connect it to him. Okay. So we have next question coming in from Dhruv Jain. What are the qualifications needed for joining in automobiles industry?
No, fantastic. I think that is, you need to have an MBA in marketing if you ask me. So I think, see, that is the basic qualification which you need to have. You need to have trust me, it is about attitude, guy, Dhruv, right? Yeah, it is about attitude, Dhruv. Whatever you are, wherever you are an engineer, you are a graduate holder, you need to learn this knack. You might and you need to understand this is a profession. It's not just a job. And once you take it as a profession, see, a lot of people join this place for a year stint and couple of years stint, and you try to become a sell cars and you jump out and get into because I can't do. But trust me, that is not the way it goes. You need to make it as a profession. I join over here. I have a career in this industry. So it is just like any other industry. You might want to. So there are two things. One is you get into the retail part, that is the front line, and another is the technical part. You are an engineer. You want to design a car, things like what Srikanth does. Design cars and do things. That's the technical part. But the front line selling part is purely 100% a passion. And if you are having that in you, you could be part. But make it a career. It is not a job. You cannot work on it as a job. See, the question is, how do I get a job in this thing? It is not a job. You have to make a career. You want a career in automobile retail? Let us talk. Let us talk about a career in automotive. Let us not talk about a job in automotive retail. Yeah, Dhruv, thank you.
Okay. So that comes to end of it. I don't think we'll have enough time. Probably we'll take one last question. So we have this question from Shiva. I have been working in automotive industry for past 5 years. If I continue in dealership or else, okay, probably he wants to frame it this way. Do I continue in dealership or else have to go into an OEM?
So I think you need to start with an OEM and end with a dealership. That's how it has to work. But unfortunately, you are in a dealership route now, because from a dealership, you go into an OEM, you will never enjoy the work. Trust me when I tell you this, dealership is a way different story altogether, and running a dealership. So you have started with a dealership. I would suggest continue with the dealership, because getting into an OEM, you will get stuck over there. I don't think, again, it's all about passion. So for me, you should have started with an OEM, understand what an OEM is, got into a dealership so that you run the dealership smoothly. Today, when you are already in a dealership, I think you need to continue with the dealership, and dealership should give you the opportunity to grow within. Look for growth opportunities. Don't stick around as the same guy you are yesterday, today. Look for growth opportunities. Grow in your career, because it's so important to grow, because then if you don't grow, then you're not making a career for yourself. So I think if you're a sales consultant, go into becoming a sales manager, go into becoming a general manager, a vice president, a CEO, whatnot. The opportunities are immense. So make it a career. Please don't make it a job again. So I think that is the key which I would like to give you here. Thank you.
Thank you, Pro Girish. That was a fantastic session, and we have to discontinue it because the time is up. Otherwise,
Thanks,
I know
Shrikant.
we have hours and hours to talk about.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
we let us go bid goodbye to Pro Girish Neelamana. Of course, this may not be the first and last one. This is just the start. We have more sessions coming up.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. Goodbye, team. So, team, it was a very energetic session. So, before we end the session, one quick suggestion to all of you. I'm sure you should be sharing this video with all your friends and colleagues. Do tag them also so that it will be helpful for everyone. Of course, the initiative of REVVUP from ARPRO is to bring positivity in the auto industry and also let the people know what are the different growth opportunities available in the auto industry. Right? So I'm sure all of you are with me on this. Great. So team, with that, we come to end of the session. We will catch up next Sunday again 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. with yet